Hello, welcome to the channel, friends. My name is Kate, and I thought it would be a fun video to share kind of a recap on what the last 2 years have been starting a gardening YouTube channel. Now, I've got my notes, just a little housekeeping before we get into this little gardening chit chat, as I'm going to call it. This is different than my typical videos. I like to share more of a cinematic, style to my videos. My hope is that it causes some inspiration to somebody who maybe perhaps they haven't been gardening, or perhaps you do enjoy gardening and you just love looking at beautiful things at kind of a slower pace. That's kind of what my channel is all about. Okay, let me get situated. All right, so I'm going to try to do this in one single stream of thought, so without any cuts is my goal. It is the sun. This is not the best lighting, but we're just going to roll with it. And apologies if you hear the busy streets around me. I do garden in a city, and I live near some streets with some traffic, so that's just the way it is. Okay. Now, what I will say too before we get started is please don't subscribe if you are not looking for a slower paced video style to watch. I have lately been getting into more cinematic style of videos and just slowing things down a bit. I think that's really where my heart is, and I get so much joy and satisfaction out of the creative process as I go through creating a more cinematic approach to a video. So I think you'll be sorely disappointed if you're expecting these type of videos all the time. I don't know how this is gonna go. I would like to do these monthly, maybe. I find as much as I do enjoy the cinematic, slower paced style to my videos where I can be more artistic, I really do miss the talking to you, kind of the unfiltered and unedited portion. So that's why my gut really wanted to do this style of video, so I didn't want to ignore it. And here we are. So yes, only subscribe if you are looking for a slow gardening, creative style video where I don't talk as much as I am going to in this video. So if you appreciate that, then yes, please, I would love to have you. I would love to grow this community of like-minded individuals, and I don't want to disappoint anybody is pretty much the roundabout way of what I'm trying to say. So with that out of the way, I thought that I may just begin going into what the last 2 years have been like and what I'm hoping for goals, what have been some challenges being on YouTube, and what have been some of my successes. So before I dive into that, I'll just ask for one thing from you. I would love to have you drop a comment below with a description of your channel. My hope is that we can all support each other, check each other's channels out. You don't have to be a gardening channel. I have no idea who this is going to reach. So, you know what? If you have a woodworking channel, I would be very interested in that because I am interested in doing some hand carving. You never know. So if by some random chance, and I do actually post this video, You also have a YouTube channel, gardening related, ungardening related. I would love for you to drop some information in the comments that we can all peruse and check out. So, okay, I've said my piece there, and I think I did already apologize for the light coming in and out, but it's getting hot. All right. So, what has the last 2 years been like on YouTube? I think I would sum it up in one word: humbling. If you need a bit of humbling, I recommend you start a YouTube channel. It will put you in your place really quickly. I think there's no other platform or avenue in my career outside of the interwebs where I've been humbled more. And it's so interesting to begin to learn more about yourself and how you handle criticism, and kind of puts your ego in check, which I think is really important. I think so often we don't necessarily have that real-time feedback, maybe more so now with social media, but certainly putting your life or sharing a portion of your life or passion on YouTube will give you an immediate reaction, which I also love looking at the analytics to see how long people watch my videos, where do they jump out. And I still consider myself a relatively small channel, although I am just flabbergasted that I'm over 900. That doesn't really register with me just yet. So, but it is, back to the analytics, fascinating to see where people jump off, or perhaps maybe something that you posted resonated more with people. Yeah. So if you're in need of a bit of humbling, start a YouTube channel. People will dislike your videos, and I learned that's okay. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Not everything that you're interested in, other people will be interested in. But I think at the end of the day, that can't be your focus. Don't just start a YouTube channel for the sake of trying to please other people. People pleasing will never make you happy. I think you have to remain authentic, and with that, there's going to be some challenges along the way as you're trying to find, well, what is my authenticity? What style of video really resonates with me? How do I want to tell my story? How do I want to depict whatever it is that I'm passionate about, and still try to remain or figure out what even is your authenticity? Who am I? That's a different, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because then I'll get too philosophical, and that's not this channel. So yes, I think there's also an element of when you film on YouTube, or when I film on YouTube, I can't believe I'm almost 100 videos in 2 years later, and I feel like I'm just starting to get into my own groove, that I'm starting to feel more proud of the videos that I am creating, because I feel like I'm starting to get to a point where I'm doing a better job of storytelling. And that's really important to me. if I would lie if I said the views didn't matter, because, some videos you think, oh, this is really gonna resonate with a lot of people, and then it flops, and a part of you is like, oh, it doesn't feel as great. But you have to keep reminding yourself, well, that's not my goal. The views aren't my goal. Subscriber count isn't my goal. Really, the whole reason why I even started this channel was because I wanted to, A, connect more with people. I was feeling pretty isolated at the time. B, I was looking for a new creative outlet. And you're seeing me in my creative process in real time. There's not really a whole lot of art forms where you have an audience that's seeing you progress all the way through your creative development. And I actually do find that fascinating to put that creative process out on YouTube for others to see. It's terrifying. Don't get me wrong. It's extremely terrifying. But it's also exciting because one day I can go back and look through at some of my first videos, which are probably so cringy. But if I do one day decide to do that, or perhaps you want to binge my videos, you can see my style has changed maybe quite a bit. Although I have dabbled a little bit in some cinematic videos last year, and I really love those. I like when videos make me feel a certain way, and at the end of the day, I want to make people feel better after they watch my videos. And I don't really know yet how to describe my videos because they're not your typical gardening how-to videos, although I do like to throw a little bit of that in. So I think what I'm really trying to say is, if you are interested in starting your own channel, maybe even gardening channel, and you think you have to have it all figured out, I'm here to tell you I'm still figuring it out, and I'm a little over 2 years in and almost 100 videos down. So I think you're just going to figure it out as you go in real time, unless you just have a clear vision and maybe perhaps you already have some experience in the filming and editing and storytelling. That would be great. So a caveat to that would be, I would encourage you just to start. Just start. If anything, you're building your creative portfolio and doing a little bit of documenting of your journey, which is more or less how I'm seeing this experience on my end. So if you've been hesitant to start, I say just do it. And if you say, well, I don't have any gardening experience, I don't know what I'm doing, I didn't either. I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I first started, but I just started one day and here we are. Now, I'm not a master gardener. There's probably a number of things that I'm doing wrong in terms of gardening, but we all figure it out. We all figure out what works for us, and I don't ever want anybody to feel like they're, they're doing something wrong if they use this product or if they don't use this product. I think just the beauty in starting to garden in and of itself is more than enough. If you're happy, I'm happy. So as long as you're not hurting anybody, there you go. So now I'm figuring out where to go next. Okay, let me look at my notes. Okay. So okay, here we go. This is a good progression. So I think in the gardening world, what I've noticed there are a lot of trends, and I think a lot of pressures to use a certain product or garden in a certain way. And I did feel that when I first started, I think for a good majority of time. And it wasn't, I think, until maybe a few years into gardening and also sharing on YouTube that I feel myself pulling away from wanting to do what's trendy. And um, maybe that's because I've built up some confidence that I feel like I can kind of do my own thing and figure things out with a bit of my own research sprinkled in. And I find maybe because I'm getting older that I'm trying to focus more on things like soil health and, well, if I'm using this fertilizer, what is the impact that I'm actually leaving? Just because it's recommended by my favorite YouTubers, should I be really using that product? So I'm starting to question things a little bit more and trying to come up with my own conclusions and experimenting more. I find that even this cut flower garden is a good example of trying to experiment more. We're all going to have different methods of gardening. And again, I don't think that there's any right way, wrong way. But maybe with building confidence, you feel more at ease as to try your own thing. And don't necessarily get too focused on what's trending in the YouTube community. That I've learned. But if you are just starting out and you're trying to find your style of video and trying to figure out how you want to come across, definitely experiment. I've done my own share of experimenting with different types of music, different styles of editing, different things that I'm planting. And I think that just goes with the territory, but I think that can get to be a little tiring and exhausting and maybe unfulfilling if you just keep jumping on trends. At least in my experience, I feel like I would get so burnt out if all I was doing was just trying to keep up with trends and, not listening to what my gut is telling me creatively to do. Trust your gut. There you go. The next thing I want to talk about, leading off of trends and following trends, is if you're just starting out in a channel, you will get approached by people wanting you to promote their products. And that can be so exciting. I remember first being approached in an email by some company when I was, oh gosh, I maybe had 200 subscribers at the time. And I was shocked because I thought you just would get approached if you had, 10,000 subscribers, let alone 200. That was shocking to me. But as exciting as it was, I personally just, I don't want to be a source of advertisement if I'm not 100% convinced about a product. I don't even think I want to advertise at all in here because the purpose isn't to advertise or encourage consumerism. For me, my goal is to encourage gardening and inspiration and slowing down and trying to be more present. I think that's really what I'm trying to get at. So you will be approached. You will have several different companies reach out to you. And I don't know, I'd say if that is something that you feel comfortable doing or want to do, by all means, go for it. But just I'd say keep in mind everybody that approaches you may have their own agenda, and you can't necessarily do your own style of video, or I think there's a lot baked into the offers that they approach you with. So there's that. Just try to stay true to who you are and what products you're recommending, and maybe not recommend products just for the sake of recommending them. That's just how I feel. So there's that. Now, thinking about successes here on YouTube, I think that's going to be different for maybe any channel that you ask this question, what they think they have been most successful at with their channel. I would say some of my successes are that I feel like I'm getting better at storytelling. Now, maybe not necessarily verbally, but I think visually I've been trying to work really hard at capturing the essence of what I find inspiring in and around my own garden. I don't think I've ever actually shared what birch salt even means. I just updated my channel description that has the definition, but I'm now, 2 years into this, and I haven't formally talked about what birch salt even means. But it's essentially a word I came up with years and years and years ago. This was before I actually started my YouTube channel, because something in me was like, start a channel and call it birch salt. And that was because I wanted to find a word that describes how I find inspiration around me. And in Maine, we have some birch trees and we have sea salt from the ocean. We live right on the ocean. So I just combined those two, because birch trees to me, well, I should have gone for pine trees because we're the pine tree state. I know, but pine salt? Oh, dang, I should have done that. But birch trees is land, sea salt is the ocean. So it's finding inspiration from land and sea is how I came up with the name birch salt. And really, I think it encapsulates how I view the world around me. So I take a lot of inspiration from going outside. I always have, always will. And it's where I get a lot of my inspiration when I make my soaps. It inspired me to make my soaps and try to get better at more sustainable living as well. So trying to be more mindful about what I'm consuming, what I'm purchasing, and that led me down the path of wanting to create my own products because I knew what I was putting in them. So if you've ever wondered what birch salt means, there you go. So, in a nutshell, I would say starting a gardening YouTube channel has been a great decision. I have no idea where this is going to take me. I have no idea if this video will even be pushed out, if I will even post it, because I may go back through and want to just trash this whole thing. And I know it's different than the videos that I've been posting lately, but I felt it was important to also take time to connect with you and have a deeper conversation about some things. And I don't feel like it's necessarily the place for me to do that in my more artistic videos, because that's not that's not the goal of those videos that I'm putting out. So if you do enjoy this style of video and you want to see more, let me know. Give this video a like, drop a comment, and I'll maybe do these monthly. Maybe like a monthly garden chit chat. So that will be, I'll say 10% of my videos will be garden chit chats, maybe until the end of fall. And the other 90% will be hopefully inspiring, more cinematic videos, slower paced videos in my garden. So thank you. Thank you for being here. If you made it this far, you are the real MVP. That just touches my heart. So I really appreciate it. Now I'm going to get out of this hot sun. I have so much harvesting to do. I'm going to be putting the cut flower stand out tomorrow. So this is the first time that I'm harvesting enough flowers to put out the stand since my tulip harvest. So if you want to see that, stay tuned because that will be coming in a future video, putting out the stand again after my last tulip harvest. Okay, thank you again for being here and watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you.